We are.
We are live. This is going to be fun. I'm going to get on, make sure that. All right. All right, everybody. My name is Lance DeYoung. I am one of the social media guys for Bow Hunting League and also one of the captains for the Spring Turkey League. And my team is the Mother Cluckers. And we are jumping into this live. We're calling this Talk Turkey to Me. And it is a bunch of the captains from different teams within Bow Hunting League for the turkey contest. Some of the guys that you see will be out hunting. Some of them are hanging out at home with family. We're going to talk about how the season's going for our teams, how the conditions are in our area, and probably do a little bit of smack talking too. So the first captain that I'm joining with is Mike. Mike, tell us about your team and how the season's going so far.
So far, my team is Roost Reapers. Going a little slow. I was thankful myself to harvest a bird right away this season, but those days after snow finally left the ground here in Minnesota, we got blessed with some 80-degree weather, which melted a good pretty much 90% of all the snow, and I was able to get out with my 5-year-old boy, did some calling. Well, we got to our location. We chased out a couple birds, and one of the toms that we chased out ended up coming back into the decoys, and I was able to decap him. And my 5-year-old thought that was the best thing in the world. Hey, Dad, look, the head's gone. I'm like, yep, it's gone. But all the guys I've been talking to in my team, some of their seasons had just started, and for those guys, I'm still wishing the best of luck. They're still doing their scouting. Some of the guys are sending me pictures of birds they're seeing before they can get out. And one guy, Lance, on my team, he's just not having the greatest luck. A lot of gobbling, just not a lot of coming in the decoys, kind of a deal. So it's been kind of a little bit rough. One of the guys ended up shooting a bird with a shotgun because he said it was hanging up about 90 yards. Didn't want to come in, so instead he just decided to grab his shotgun and get one in the freezer. So more power to him. He got one, so that's good. Too bad not a bow, but I'm sure he'll get one yet.
Yeah, for sure. That seems to be one of the things. You've got some teams that are just diehard, passionate, bow-only guys. You've got some that are, hey, I'm going to try with a bow, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to, let a tag sit in my pocket. And there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, with the Bow Hunting League, it is bow only. Bow is in the name, right?
For sure.
But nothing better than getting out in the outdoors. It's awesome that you were able to take your 5-year-old and get a bird with him in the blind. That is just a fantastic thing to do. And, nothing better than seeing kids getting passionate about the outdoors. So, awesome work on that.
Yeah, it was actually kind of perfect. Like I seen all these deals for Black Friday for all these see-through blinds. I'm like, well, heck, that'd be great for the boys to be able to. I've been taking my oldest for the last since 4 years, except for this year I was able to bring his younger brother. But I'm like, that'd be something for them to actually see the birds come in. Otherwise, they're sitting so low they can't see the window. So he thought it was just great that I want that huge box. I understand, buddy. I'm on a video chat, bud. But yeah, so when the bird was coming in, I told my boy Ethan, I'm like, hey, watch, he's coming in, and he was just strutting up a storm, and he was just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, all right, reach up and turn on the camera, and he reached up and hit the power button, but didn't hit the record button. And I was like, I can't be mad at that because he's still experienced and had such an overjoyment of watching the whole thing go down. He was just above himself, and I'm not mad for him for not hitting record. It was just unbelievable that he was so excited because even when we got out of the blind, he's like, Daddy, we got to find the head off of him. He's somewhere. I'm like, yep. I'm like, how about you
find your boy in the background right now?
That's my oldest boy. He's 7.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one who normally goes with me, but Ethan wanted to try it this year, and I'm like, all right, you can come with. And he was done with school at 10:30 that day. I'm like, I could go out early, try to get him, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just wait till 10:30 and give him an experience that he will hopefully remember for forever.
Yeah, for sure. Well, your team is actually doing pretty well right now. We've got 20 teams in this year's turkey contest, and Roost Reapers is sitting in 13th, and that was before this weekend. Have you guys had anybody be successful this weekend?
Not that I've heard of. I've been trying to reach out to the guys everybody seems to be either having to do stuff or they're just not having luck with birds communicating, or they're gobbling and not coming into the calls. So,
Yep.
and I know one guy says his season opens on Tuesday, and he sent me a video of 2 or 3 toms that were in the field that he's planning on sitting on Tuesday. So he's very optimistic about it. So I'm hoping for him too. It should be pretty good for
Awesome.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, I was fortunate to finally get out this past weekend. I'm up in Michigan, and so how Michigan's season works, it's actually really weird. The first 2 weeks of the season are draw-only tags for 1 week at a time. And I drew a first season tag, went out, and we're in the middle of a pretty massive cold snap that's kind of been taking over this whole northern half of the country. And it really made the hunting difficult this weekend. I know watching the league page and stuff like that, I've been seeing guys in my state being successful, but more power to them because we could not get the birds to talk this weekend. So,
I feel for you guys. I'm here in Minnesota. It's like I had that last day of warm weather, and I'm like, I got to get out there. And then my brother went out on Wednesday, first day of his season for shotgun, and he blasted one with a shotgun, and it was like that. He's like, there wasn't a single bird gobbling. He's like, I just kept calling every 15, 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, after I was done calling, he showed up over the ridge and walked right in the decoys, and he blasted him.
That's awesome.
Like, it was just one of those weird deals. It's like the birds just don't want to talk.
Right. Well, hey, let's do this. Let's grab a couple more captains and throw them on and get the conversation started. And then we've got another individual waiting in the chat that as soon as I click go on that, the crap talking is going to begin. So we'll talk to a couple other team captains, see how their season's going, and then just have some fun. So
sounds good.
Don, you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, Don is joining us, looks like from the blind. So
yeah, here's where I'm at right now.
So let's switch this up. Look at this view. Legend in the making, coming to you live as a captain from the blind, trying to make it happen. Don, tell us a little bit about your team and how you guys are doing this year.
Well, we're the Spur Daddies, and we got quite a few guys from Minnesota. So most of them, as we've already talked about, have been dealing with the cold weather so far. This is only the second sit I've made here in Minnesota. I spent last week in Kansas looking for my Rio. I did not shoot it, but I had there was 3 guys with me, all hunting shotgun, and 2 of them shot their first ever reels down there. So that was good for them. I haven't had much going on here yet. Being gone all last week, I was hit pretty hard at work this week, but I'm starting to get out now. Our team has been doing really well. We had some guys do good early in Nebraska, and we were sitting in 3rd place there for quite a long time. Since some of the southern states have opened up recently, we've slipped a little bit, but we had a guy in Wisconsin just yesterday, I believe, shoot a nice triple bearded gobbler that scored over 30 points. So that's going to put us up in the standings a little bit again.
Yeah, for sure.
I think most of our guys are pretty committed to taking one with the bow. There was a lot of trash talk earlier about settling with the shotgun, and we haven't had anybody talking about that yet. So hopefully we're going to do well. We got, I think, put together a pretty good team. We had a lot of us are holdovers from a team last year that come in 5th place, and anybody last year that did not score a bird on our team is not on it this year. So I say we're all pretty committed, and I think we're going to do well.
Yeah, that's a pretty unique thing about the Turkey League is teams are flipping every season. Some teams stay together. A lot of teams have a bunch of new players in it, and it's a really unique dynamic. You know, you're paired with 14 other people on a team. A lot of times you don't know all those people, and we've got things going on in the league with guys swapping hunts and trading turkey hunts for deer hunts and deer hunts to come hunt a new spot for turkeys, and just an amazing amount of coordination and networking and collaboration happening. And it's really cool. So, the fact that you're changing up your team, trying to be super successful this season, you guys are sitting in 7th right now. And that was as of last Wednesday. So the weekend birds that you're talking about aren't even in your score yet. So it looks like you guys are lined up to have a heck of a run here closing out the season.
We're really hoping. We got a lot of guys that haven't even started yet. So yeah, you're talking about trading hunts. Actually, this Kansas hunt I was on, I was there last year also. It was one of the other team guys that turned me on to that. I just asked for somebody that could put us on to some reels. Turned out it was Ruben, and we all know there was some shit talking going on there.
Well, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Mr. Ruben, welcome to the chat.
He will.
See, I'm like Beetlejuice. You say shit talk too many times, and here I come.
How about that? Speaking, ye shall talk.
Yeah, speaking of talking, you were sitting here all earlier this week. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to join the chat because I'm going to be in the blind killing birds, and here you are sitting on the porch.
Well, see all that home remodel stuff there? I just got done spending about an hour up in my attic pulling wire and gouging my head on the nails through my roof. So it's a beautiful day out here, but man, it's just been our birds are so bad right now on the decline. We've got, it's pretty bad. And places that I've usually seen upwards of 12 to 15 birds just driving by on public ground, the most I've seen so far has been 4. And I mean, you can hear the birds, but man, I called in just yesterday evening. I called in yesterday evening, maybe the evening before, Friday evening. I called in 2 birds, and they came into 30 yards, and they were hammering, and they saw the decoys. And I don't know if it was the half strut Jake or what, but they wanted no part, absolutely no part of it. And they just stood there for a while. And they were 30 yards from me, but I couldn't shoot them because of brush, because I don't hunt out of a ground blind much. And I just couldn't get a shot on them. And they just turned and gobbled their way off back to wherever they were coming from. And I know I called them in from over a half to 3/4 of a mile because I'd seen them as I drove around and then went to go hunt, and just can't put together. They're just rough right now. And I'm hoping that here a couple more weeks, they'll start breaking out a little bit more, looking for hens in other places, because it's not like we got a bunch of them. So, and I didn't get to see Dawn. He was down here. He was only staying about 7 miles from my house. I got to see him last year, but I didn't get a chance to get up there to see him this year because we got a bunch of work stuff. So it was just been a little rough this year. A lot of things going on.
Seems to be the story of all of our lives. That working stuff keeps getting in the way of our hunting stuff, right?
Yeah, that, and I'm on about year 10 of a remodel of my house since we've bought it, and that kind of makes it a little bit rough.
Get in front of the working stuff.
Well, that's just because I go hunting and then I get yelled at for going hunting later. So it's, I keep using that. I'll do it later. Well, later's starting to come due pretty quick. So, but no, our team's all a bunch of guys. We named it Spur of the Moment because it was last minute. We just kind of went through real fast and got a bunch of people's names and stuck them on the board. And I've been on a few turkey teams, and I know he's probably not gonna be able to make it on here, but I'm I am to a turkey team what James Fahey is to a deer team. Usually the last person that's going to get you one. So it's just one of them things where we chose guys that had not, if they had shot birds with a shotgun before, it was one or two maybe, but their main method is bow, because I've been on a lot of teams that half the guys resort to bow after 2 days of struggling and get mad, and then they go out and they'll shoot a hammer of a bird with a shotgun and then come in with a 13-point Jake and be like, oh yeah, there you go. And you're down by 25 and they shot a 40-point bird with a shotgun. So that definitely makes it rough, but we're doing okay. And we've, as of right now, we got 9 birds entered. So we got 9 guys killed and 6 guys left. Of course, I'm one of the ones that haven't yet, but we got 6 guys left that need to kill. And we just haven't had any problems with the gun stuff, because we made that perfectly clear in the beginning that, if guns are your deal, just go ahead and, we appreciate wanting to be on the team, but go somewhere else. And everybody's pretty much stepped up. We haven't had any gun kills yet. So.
Well, that's good for your team. Spur of the Moment is sitting right now in 3rd overall. So heck of a start for y'all. And reminder for those that may be joining later, all of the scores that I'm talking about are the last posted scoreboard. So that would have been from last Wednesday. Of course, a lot has happened in the Turkey Woods between Wednesday and now. So we've got teams that have killed several birds. We've got a lot of stuff entered. I'm looking at some of the stuff right now, right? We've had 91 birds entered in the league so far, and we are nearing 1,000 inches of beard amongst the league members. And it always impresses me to look at some of the statistics that come out of our competitions. We had, I don't even remember how many thousands of inches of antlers killed in last year's deer contest, and now we're nearing 1,000 inches of downed beard, which is, in my opinion, equally as impressive, because it's a lot easier to get inches out of antler than it is out of turkey. So heck of a season so far for everybody. I'm going to grab another one of our captains who's been waiting in the wing for a while. Mr. Sean, welcome to the chat, man.
What's up, guys?
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
Cold here.
Well, Sean, tell us about your team and how your season's going so far.
So we're the bunch of Jakeoffs. So far it's not too bad. We've got a bunch of guys from last year on our team, and I think we've got 6 birds down. So we're not doing too bad. We're off to an all right start. It's a little slow here in Missouri so far, but
yeah. And bunch of Jakeoffs. You guys are sitting in 10th out of 20 right now. So, in that sweet 50% spot, you could quickly move up, or, who knows, maybe you could quickly move down, but you got yourself in a position early on to be able to make a move as the season goes. So, how about you guys dealing with any gun kills on the team, or how's the season overall?
Really, so far, I think we've had 1 guy kill with a gun, but he's still got some bow tags, I guess. I don't know if he's going to try to fill a bow tag or not, but see, most of our team's from Missouri, and it's been kind of cold, and it seems like the birds are pretty hand up right now, but as soon as they start breaking apart, we should do pretty all right. We've had a bunch of misses, which is part of it, but
yeah, I unfortunately this weekend joined the miss of the season club. Was out with my dad, and my dad's dealing with a shoulder injury, so he can't bow hunt. So instead of resorting to a long-barreled shotgun, he grabbed his old Thompson Center Contender 410 pistol and took that out just to up the stakes. And we called 3 gobblers within 10 steps. And I had my 20-yard pin set and shaved the feathers off the top of a back. So I feel like I've let the team down. We have yet to get bird on the board. So hopefully it'll happen soon.
Early on, it was about 3 weeks ago, me and one of the team members the team member that shot one with a shotgun. We went to Nebraska, and we both shot nice birds. Mine got up and flew away, and I watched it fly across the creek. And by the time I got over there to get it, the guys, I don't know if some other guys had shot it or if they just picked it up, but they were walking out with my bird.
Man, that's a tough way to have it happen. But
I remember hearing that story. That sucks.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I still got a tag in the until the end of Missouri's short ass season. I don't know if I don't know what'll happen here because the bird, like I said, the birds are being rough. I hadn't even had a bird respond to my calls here. So we end here the 6th of May, and we'll still be able to go out to Nebraska until the end of May, I believe.
there you go.
Holding on hope.
Yeah, out of curiosity, with all the guys that we have, how many of you guys travel every season for birds?
I try to.
No, I don't.
So, Mike, that was a no. Ruben, do you travel for turkey hunting?
I did last year a little bit. I just haven't had a lot of good luck, and with especially with everything I got going on right now, it's just real hard for me to get out because my kids are in sports and stuff. So it definitely ruins my ability to travel much for turkey. So
Yeah, springtime is big on the sports. Now, we know Don danced with the devil this year and traveled down to Ruben's neck of the woods to chase birds. So that answers that question. And Sean, you've still got a Nebraska tag in your pocket. So we know you're traveling for turkeys as well.
Yeah, I try to hit multiple stuff. Normally, I try to hit at least one state a year that I haven't been to. And like last year, I went to Nebraska last year and killed a Jake out there. And I go to Wisconsin quite a bit. And then I've been to Tennessee and Georgia quite a few years ago, but that was just a bust. It was a shit show.
Well, out of curiosity, how many of you guys are filming your hunts as well? It's been pretty incredible so far this season with how many kills on camera we've had posted to the league. It seems like the popularity of taking a camera in the blind is growing. It's so much easier now with the technology of cell phones and stuff like that. But how many of you guys are filming? Sean, are you?
I try to as much as possible, but I'm hunting a lot of public land with the bow, public land period's hard, but with the bow it makes it even harder. So I don't always get the opportunity to whip the phone, but when I do, when I get the chance, I definitely do.
Right. Now, Mike, I don't even need you to answer, but I'll let you. But we know that your son unfortunately pushed the power button instead of the record button. So clearly you had a camera in the blind with you.
Yeah, I bought just a cheap Amazon 4K camera to bring with in the bow stand along with the turkey blind. And yeah, it's just one of those deals. The first time that bird came in, he hit the record button and then he never actually came in. So told him to shut it off. And like an hour later, when the bird finally was convinced to come back, and actually at that time too, I was trying to go live and give my 5-year-old my cell phone, like, hey, go hold this, videotape it. He's just like, I don't know what you want me to do with this. But I should have just reached over and hit the record button, but I didn't. I was too focused on the bird. I was more worried about getting the kill for the team and getting some turkey meat in the freezer. It's been 7 years since I've harvested a bird with a bow, so I was just so tickled that this bird wanted to actually come in and cooperate after multiple attempts of getting close and not coming out of the brush. And like, yeah, Ethan, turn the camera on, hit record, and then he turns on the camera but doesn't hit record. And it's like, well, I'm not mad. My boy was excited to see the bird dies and see the bird strut and everything, and so that was worth it for me. And I, like last year, I had an opportunity at a 8-pointer that was coming in, and I turned the camera on, and when I looked I had the buck was coming on my left. I looked over my right, turned the camera on, had it facing the shooting lane. I looked back over to my left where the buck was coming, and he's looking right at me. I'm like, oops. All right, I guess I'm not harvesting this one. And he was a decent buck, probably a 120, 110 inch ape. He was a good buck. He's bigger than the one I actually ended up shooting, but it was just one of those things. He was 15 yards away, and I just tried to quick turn the camera on, and I got busted doing it. So I do what I can to try to do it, but sometimes it's just better to just kill. Like the buck I did end up harvesting. It was too dark. It was the last 5 minutes of shooting light, and he came and gave me a 2-yard shot, and I was like, it was too close to even try to get him in focus. And I was like, heck with it. I just took him, and that's what it was.
Nice. Don, how about you? Do you try and film your hunts out there?
I do not. I'm always pretty much focused on what's going on around me. Although I just heard my first Minnesota gobble here about 10 minutes ago, and if something happens here, you may all get to see me shoot here tonight. Who knows?
That'd be awesome.
Well, hey, if you get to a point where you've got a bird coming in, be sure to turn us down and give us a wave or something. We'll throw you on the main screen, and we can chat in the background and let you do your thing and see if we can't, we'll act like a bunch of amateur commentators doing play-by-play down here. So.
I think I do have a couple guys on our team that have filmed hunts this year that you've posted on the website. I think the contest itself really makes people want to do that, because it's kind of a big deal to show it off to everybody, and this venue that you've put together is really a great place to put a bunch of like-minded people together to show what's going on around here. So I think that really makes a lot of people want to film. I know I don't really have all the equipment here to do that, but I know a lot of people do, so I think it's pretty cool.
I think on the flip side of that, right, one of the beauties of the league is we're a bunch of people that are just passionate about bow hunting, whether it's passionate about just getting into bow hunting, or we've been doing it for decades, and we're just excited to see people continue in the sport. It has amazed me in all of my years of being part of the league. Nobody's bashing on our page, the size of the buck during deer season, or if it's just a Jake or a once in a lifetime Tom that's harvested. We're all here just to encourage each other. And so I don't want to take the time real quick. This is my little 5-second plug for the league. Huge shout out to everybody who's either gone live in the group and shown their footage of or their hunt live. And then also those that have recorded it and then sent us copies of the recording to post. Thank you so much. We all love living that hunt with you from wherever we are. I was sitting with my dad in the woods on yesterday, and we watched one of the league members in Iowa kill a tom in the snow. And we were like, hey, yeah, watched it happen, all excited and stuff like that. And we were like, man, I wish it would happen here. Like, we're sitting on the edge of a wheat field just waiting for a gobble. But it's an opportunity to share the excitement with those that love the sport. So if anybody is filming their hunts and wants to share that stuff, shoot a message to the Bow Hunting League Facebook page with a copy of your clip. We can take it from there. If you go live during your hunt, when you finish your live, it should give you an option to save the video. Be sure to do that. And then if you could send us the copy of that saved video of your live, it just helps out with the league and some of the stuff that we're working on behind the scenes. But for all of those that have so far, absolutely keeping the content coming, because we love it.
You mentioned a passion for the sport here. I got to throw something pretty cool out here to all you guys. My folks were just this last weekend inducted into the Minnesota Archery Hall of Fame. So that's kind of a big deal for me and everybody around here. They started our local archery club, the Chillicoot Bow Hunters, way back in 1953, and it's got to be like the biggest club almost in the Midwest here. It's kind of a big deal, so we're awfully proud of that. But you know, as most of you, I'm sure my passion for the sport came from my folks, and they're getting paid off for it now, so that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
I saw that, Don. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still kicking. My dad's 99 years old. He shot turkeys with me with the shotgun right up until he was 93 or 94. I don't remember exactly, but kept him out here in the woods for quite a while. Well, him and my mom, they're both still alive. They think they're kind of a big deal now, so that's cool.
I hope I can kill turkeys till I'm 92.
Maybe it's just me, but if you're living past 93 or 94 years old, you're a big deal. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, definitely.
So. I'm getting caught up in the moment watching.
Yeah,
watching Don
we all get real quiet when Don starts calling because we all want to hear that gobble.
Like,
Not talking back yet, but I'm hopeful.
He may not talk. He might still be coming though.
I'm watching.
well, let's have some fun real quick. We're gonna go around the horn, and I want to hear each person's number one pointer or tip that they would give to a fellow bow hunter that's in the contest this year. And we can kind of bounce ideas off each other and stuff like that. But Sean, we're going to start with you. What's your number one tip that you would give somebody in the contest right now this year?
My number one tip would be definitely be patient. The only reason that I'm giving that tip is because I am the worst at it. As soon as I hear a gobble, like I'll be on birds and I'll hear a gobble somewhere else and be like, yep, that's the one. And I'll go running off. Every single time I do it, that bird will be on the spot that I was just at.
Yeah, I feel that one to my core. I have learned to slow down in the turkey woods. I did that last year. We were on a backfield on our family farm, and we were calling and heard the birds gobble on the front field. So we took off through the woods, got to the front field, started calling, and they were gobbling from where we just came from. So it's like, all right, slow down, let the birds work, trust the process, right?
Yep. That is my biggest downfall. But then when I sit there, like I tried it this year, and I put a blind out on public land, and I sat there all day. Well, not all day. I sat there until about 10:30, and then the fire brigade came through to start burning stuff. And I hated it. I felt like I was wasting my time and stuff, but I know I just need to calm down and just take it easy. But I'm the worst at it.
Hey, sometimes the best advice is the advice that we need to live by, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we'll go to the next. Mike, what's your one piece of advice for those out hunting turkeys with a bow this year?
My biggest thing for me is picking the right turkey calls. Like I love slate calls. I'm very good at them. It's very meticulous sometimes to get the purr right. I can't use a mouth call to save my life. And when I was turkey hunting with my boy that Friday, I killed that bird. I tried my mouth call and I thought it sounded pretty good. I have like 10 different mouth calls and I can't seem to get any of them to sound exactly how I want, like how I got my slate calls. But I would say the best thing would be if you get a call that you can do very well, just make sure you at least have 2 or 3. Because if you get a bird one time that all of a sudden just hangs up, he might not come back to it the next time. But I know I have at least 4 different slate calls that I can do really, really well, and 10 mouth calls I can't do a lick with, apparently. Because when I was calling those birds trying to call those birds that Friday, I killed that one. I couldn't get any response. And then I pulled out my slate call because I'm like, this ain't working. Did a couple scratches on that. Next thing you know, they were gobbling back at me, and then he started coming in. So Pick a call that you're really good at, do a lot of practice, and annoy your family. I know it's terrible, but there's times I'm like, honey, how does this sound? And I'll start scratching or doing some yelps or whatever, and she'll just be like, that sounds like a turkey. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm like, how about this? And she's like, that sounds terrible. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. But I mean, do a lot of practicing. It's, you know, you can annoy your family and they'll get sick of you, but yeah, get at least a couple calls that you're going to be very confident in and make sure you're good at it. Like, I thought I was getting better with the mouth call. Apparently not. As soon as I switched to the slate call, it wasn't 20 minutes that bird was in, that came right into the decoy. So, and I was able to get a hen to come in too. So that was, I think, my biggest factor with my setup at the time. And yeah, if you can't work the call correctly, you got to just keep finding something that you're going to do good at. Some people are great with box calls. I still can't do a box call. I don't know why. Slate and glass calls are my thing, and that's just what it is. And I'm kind of going to get rid of my mouth calls, I think.
Well, in my house, if you make some calls and ask your wife how they sound, that's the best way to end up on the couch for the night. I ain't doing that in my house.
We had a comment from the YouTube channel from Michigan Mobile Hunter, and they said fields and openings in the mornings and evenings, woods in the afternoon, and have different calls with you. If no response after a few times, switch to a different call. I think that's great advice. You know, I'm loving the fact that other people are jumping in and commenting on our different streams. You know, it's pretty cool right now. We're live on YouTube. We're live on the main bowhuntingleague.com Facebook business page, and then in the Facebook group, the Bow Hunting League Facebook group as well. So everybody that's watching, feel free, jump in as you hear us chat and just bounce ideas off each other and talk about how the season's going. If something has worked for you and you want to share that advice, do not be afraid to type it out and hit enter, and we'll give you a shout out and thank you and read the advice, right? So completely agree. You know, practicing those calls is absolutely massive. I have to laugh. I'm relatively new to the turkey hunting side of the world. I've always been an avid deer hunter and stuff like that. And I never understood why Primos's slogan was speak the language, right? And they're a huge, you know, I think they kind of started in the turkey world and then branched out into a huge company afterwards. But I never understood what speak the language meant. I was like, oh, it's because they make game calls. You know, you're just talking whatever species you have for a call. And I think the more that I get into turkey hunting, the more I realize, no, you're actually learning a different language. You have no idea what you're saying. You could be cussing that bird out. You could be talking about that bird's mama. Who knows, right? But you're learning what you need to do to get that bird to communicate with you. And I think that's really cool.
There's been many times that birds have preferred one call in my box over all others. Many times. I usually carry 2 box calls and 3 slate calls and a couple of handful of mouth calls, and very, very, very frequently they prefer one over all the others. It's amazing how much that happens. So, you know, to get comfortable with just one call might be good for you, but it might not be all that good in the woods.
Yeah, for sure. Another person from Facebook says, if you're new, don't be afraid to ask for advice in the Bow Hunting League group. There are some great turkey hunters on there who will for sure answer any questions. That's exactly right. It's one of the beauties of the league, right? We've got people that this is their first season. We've got people that this is their 31st season in the woods, and everybody's willing to pitch in advice and help and stuff like that. So absolutely love that. Ruben, you're up. What's your advice to those out chasing turkeys with a bow?
Well, I'm gonna piggyback onto that call one a little bit because it's something that taught me a lot as I started, because I didn't have anybody teaching me how to hunt. I learned all mine by watching hunting shows and reading or hunting magazines, all that fun stuff. And I started out with a box call, you know, the cheap all-weather, you know, $15 box call that you could buy at Walmart, and you could call in the rain or anything, and you didn't take any skill. And I murdered a lot of birds over that cheap call just because I just sat there and just used it like crazy. Well, then as I started bow hunting, because I started out shotgun hunting. And once I started bow hunting, what I learned was, like they were saying, like Dawn was saying, one bird may not like that call. And I was missing out on a lot. And so I started using diaphragm calls. And this is a kind of a funny story. I was using them completely wrong and didn't realize it, because I just bought it. It didn't have any instructions on the package. I just bought them, and I would turn them backwards to where the reed was facing back and the round was into my teeth, and I was sucking air in, and I was making a call. And a guy came and was hunting with me one day, and he asked me, he's like, "Man, I can't get my calls to sound like that. What are you doing?" And I told him, he goes, "That's not even how you're supposed to use that. How can you even make noises with that?" And I said, "I don't know, man." I said, "It's not what I learned." Well, then I turned it around, and I was like, "That's why it looks like they're blowing out when they're calling, because they're blowing." And yeah, I was like, huh. But it taught me that, sometimes you just got to do something really off the wall. And this is translated into my deer hunting. And I've been pretty blessed in my deer hunting. And it taught me that I needed to be really, really diverse in what I do. And so now I've gotten into using slate and glass calls and all different types of those. And a lot of times what gets me is that if you call to a tom with just one call, he may not like it. But if you make him think there is multiple different birds by using different calls at the same time, they almost can't handle that. And a big dominant hen really gets upset when you start talking over her with 2 or 3 different calls. And so that's just a piggyback onto that. But my biggest tip, I would say, is, and this is something that it's hard for a lot of guys. I've had a talk with James Fahey here just not too long ago about it. Get out of the blind. Learn to hunt those turkeys on the ground from behind brush or a tree. Get in there early, build you a blind, something that they can't tell is different, because everybody's hunting turkeys out of ground blinds anymore. And that is something that's given me a lot of success. Is I've shot a lot of birds from behind cedar trees, out of small groups of trees or brush, just backing in, having actually no room. And you might have only one little shooting lane. But I've had a bird strut around about a 5-foot tall cedar tree before and spook when he come around that tree and was literally 1.5 feet away from me. So that would be my biggest tip, is don't rely solely on that blind. Excuse me. I know sometimes you're going to get places where it's just, I know down in the southeast, you get places where there's no underbrush and it's just a bunch of trees like pines, and you can't really do that. You gotta get a blind. But I have killed more birds on the move or with one of those little 5-stake pop blinds. You just unroll it and set it in the ground, and it's got some fabric on it. Just think outside the box when it comes to hunting these birds, because they may seem dumb, but they're not dumb. They're smart, and they will figure you out real quick, and they'll skirt you every time. A lot of people will tell you, like, I was sitting there and bird come in and took off. Well, it saw the blind. It saw that big blocky thing sitting there because it wasn't brushed in right. So that would be my tip, is learn to hunt without the blind, because you'll learn a lot more, for one, and you'll be surprised at how successful you'll be without it.
That's awesome advice. All right, we're going to roll straight back in, and instead of being last, you're going to be first with this next question, Ruben. And the question is, how long did it take you turkey hunting with a bow to be successful? Was it year 1 or year 5 or?
With a bow, that was, like I said, I hunted turkeys with a shotgun for a long time and hunted deer with a rifle before I ever started with a bow. And so when I translated everything over, I learned that I was actually hunting birds with a gun, birds and deer with a gun, the same way a guy would hunt with a bow. I was trying to get in front of where they'd go. I'd try to get in their path and hunt their paths. And, Ben will give tell everybody that I'm the Kansas Corn King, and I kill everything over a pile of corn because I killed one bird on live over a pile of corn because a buddy let me hunt, and because I helped him plant about 2,000 trees out in his pasture. So, and it's legal to bait here in Kansas, but that's the thing is what I think it was year 1 or 2 that I was successful with shooting a turkey after getting my bow and really trying to turkey hunt. And that was because of the experience and the, what do you call it? The, just doing my research ahead of time. Cause I loved hunting, but when I started turkey and deer, turkey's my original love. It's something I love doing. And so I researched and I did all kinds of stuff, and just, it was year 1 or 2. And it was because of that get out of the blind mentality. Cause I enjoyed sitting out in the wide open and killing birds. Nothing made me happier than that. I hope I answered your question. I ramble.
I'm going to show this quick. We had a Facebook user say, it really depends on the ground you're hunting. Private or public makes a big difference. Pressure is everything.
Yes.
Let's have you guys sound off. How much do you think that comment is true? How crucial? We talk about deer hunting, right? We talk about just get away from the people. If you're hunting public, get as far back as you can. Get away from where the people are, and you'll have a better chance. How much does that translate into turkey hunting?
I would say honestly, it's not as important as I think a lot of people put pressure on. They put a lot of emphasis on getting away from people. Well, the thing about it is the biggest part of that is how well you hunt those turkeys. Because a lot of guys, they're not serious about it. They're not good at calling. They're just out there throwing up a blind. And like I said, if you can get out there, you can kill some really good animals, birds and deer, hunting almost the same place everybody else does, but hunting the places nobody else wants to. If there's a really thick spot or somewhere where, they're hunting next to a creek, but nobody wants to cross it. You just cross on the other side and you'd be 100% surprised at what's over there. So it's not always about who's been there. It's about what you take to the field with you experience-wise. And if you've never hunted a pressured place, like that person commented, there is a ton of information at your fingertips in the bow hunting league. And there are people that I will tell you right now, there are people that are way better deer and turkey hunters than I will ever even pretend to be, that I bounce ideas off all the time. And so hunting those pressured places is not always just hunting somewhere different. It's hunting different. That'd be what I would say about it.
Okay. Who else has a thought? How much do you want to avoid the pressure for turkey hunting?
I'm hunting public. I'm not
Really say much.
necessarily-
I've never hunted.
Don will.
I've
Don
never
will come
hunted
back to you.
turkeys on.
Sean, go first.
Sorry, I've never hunted turkeys on public land, so I don't know that I can speak for that. But I have almost all of my deer hunting has been on public land, and yeah, there's pressure here and there. But if you go where they are, I don't believe that pressure always moves them out of the area. It may move them into a tighter spot or make them be a little bit more wary, or stick more to the dawn and dusk periods. But I don't know that I can really speak to turkey hunting because I've never hunted turkey on public property. So, lucky me, I guess.
All right. Sean, you had something you wanted to add. What do you have thoughts on this?
So basically, all my turkey hunting has ever been on public, and my strategy going in, knowing somebody's always going to come in. It doesn't matter what time you get there; somebody's always coming in. So I my strategy is to use that pressure. Like when I go in, I'll try to go most 90% of the time people are going to stick to the paths, or if they do come off the path, it's not going to be very far, even for a turkey. And like Ruben said, they're not going to cross. 90% of people aren't crossing creeks. So I'll use that pressure. And even so, when those people come in, they'll push those birds to where you want to be. So that's what I do. The pressure doesn't mean anything. I just did a hunt this last week where I knew where all the pressure was coming from. So I hunted the backside of it. And it worked, but it didn't pay out. But.
Awesome. Mike, what about you? What thoughts do you have about pressure and turkeys?
Pressure and turkeys. I really haven't. I've never hunted turkeys on public. I've always just kind of always hunted public or private land. And a friend of mine, he's got some farmland, and I was gonna attempt to hit that up this year instead of where I ended up going. But yeah, I talked to him, and he's like, "Oh, I got so and 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 so out there." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. There's 5 guys out there already intending on hunting with shotguns." I'm like, I just didn't. I got a couple other places I can go, so I was like, I'll let them do their thing. I'll just keep away from that. Not a big deal. I had another private land I could hit up, and it was successful for me. I was the only one hunting there, so I've generally try to stay away from pressure if I can. Public land for deer hunting, I've never been successful, but I rarely public land bow hunt. Just I have lots of public land near me, but it seems to be pretty busy. Even during bow season, it's actually pretty busy. So I do have private land, so I don't feel like I need to interrupt somebody else's hunt. So I just stay away. That's kind of how I'm doing my thing right now. But if I have to, I'll go try to take the knowledge that I got right now and learning obviously from what you guys are saying, going into public land hunting and try to do my best in harvesting an animal.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that's, some great insight, yeah, to the Facebook person. That's right. You cross the creek because you get away from the pressure. But it's not always avoiding pressure. Sometimes the concept of using the pressure to your advantage is how you need to hunt it. So great advice all around. Mike, we'll stick with you. After picking up a bow to turkey hunt, how long did it take you before you were successful?
It was actually my second year. I was my first year, almost. I had a couple birds skirt me at 40 yards. Never was able to seal the deal, but I just happened to be, it was the same farmer friend. I had was thinking about going out hunting one night, and it's my second year, and I was like, all right. I gave him a call. I'm like, hey, have you seen any birds? He's like, yeah, I've been seeing them walk through my front yard, and there's a field right behind the house. He's like, I'd set up there. I'm like, well, a little bit of insight's not going to hurt nobody. So I was like, all right, I'll go set up. And sure enough, I set up later that afternoon. It was probably like 4:30. I got out there and started calling and heard gobbles practically immediately. About 45 minutes later, he came strutting in and got to about 17 yards and was able to put a good hit on him. And tough bird. He went about 150 yards before he crawled under some brush and just laid there and waited for me to get him. But he was like a 25-pound bird, 1.1 inch spurs, and a 10.5 inch beard. He was a pretty good bird for my first bird, and I kind of had this mindset since then. I'm like, I'm gonna decap so I don't have to track no more. So it's been 7 years since I've killed a bird, and I've learned a lot in those 7 years. Though it's not every decap brand of broadhead is capable always of killing a bird. I've had the gobbler guillotine break. I've had the tom bomb break on me. I've had 2 birds walk away from me in the last 7 years because the blade on the broadhead snapped off and didn't even draw blood on the bird. So, and now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm done with the decap. Now that I've actually harvested one that way, I think I'm just gonna stick to the old probably 3.5-inch expandable, and just try to put them down with that.
3.5-inch expandable. Are you expecting anything to be left of a bird when you're done with it?
It won't
Too
go anywhere.
fast.
He says they won't go anywhere.
Right.
You hit it just
Split 'em.
right. You have the legs already be chopped off, already be gutted. You won't even have to work very hard at it.
Just
I'm cool with that.
pick it up,
I'm
tip
cool with
it
that.
sideways, and it's clean.
They can't take off if they can't run. You're all right.
That's all good. Ugh.
Oh man. Continuing down the line, Sean, how long after you picked up a bow were you successful bow hunting turkeys?
I think it was 3 years for me, and it's still hit. I think last year I killed my first one with a bow, and it was in Nebraska, and then when I hunted Missouri, which is my home state, I missed like 7 times. So it's been pretty rough.
Hey, 3 years, but hey, you're still at it, and I think I'm going to circle back to our last question, and that was, what's the one piece of advice that you would give those that are bow hunting turkeys this year? And it's my advice is try again, and when you think you're going to quit and pick up the old faithful shotgun, try some more. Right? There is nothing easy or simple about bow hunting turkeys. They're very finicky when you finally get them into bow range because they're paying attention to the decoy. They've got great eyesight. And I have yet to meet a hunter that is batting 100 with a bow on turkeys. Everybody misses. Everybody shaves the tail feathers off, or doesn't get that right shot and ends up in that that empty cavity of lack of success, right? And I had that. I missed one yesterday, right? But I'm not going to just hang it up and quit. So that's my advice: is go out hoping for success, but don't fear failure. Use it as a learning experience and continue to press on. So it's great to hear, several of the guys on this week's chat say it, right? Like, hey, I've missed. Hey, I've lost birds. I've missed birds. I've cut the feathers off birds and watched it go away. There's no shame in that. It's part of this thing called hunting. We don't call it killing. We call it hunting. So the final one, Mr. Don, any update on the birds out by you?
No, I haven't heard a peep since those couple gobbles quite a while ago. Awfully quiet over here right now.
Well, how long after you picked up a bow did it take you to be successful?
Well, I actually started with the bow. I'm an old guy. I didn't even own a gun until I was well into my 20s. My dad sold all his guns when he started archery hunting way back in the 50s. That's how I grew up. I started deer hunting out in the Black Hills in about the mid 70s, and there was turkeys all over out there. And I did shoot a few in the fall before I started spring hunting. The first time I spring hunted was, I think, 78, 79, 1980, and we didn't even have any turkeys up here in Minnesota, Wisconsin at the time. I had to go down to Missouri. And it took me, I hunted there 1 year, and I hunted in southern Wisconsin 2 or 3 years, and maybe a year or two in Minnesota here before I finally shot one with the bow in the spring. And I think the first 10 years I bow hunted, I might have got 3 or 4, and then I bought a shotgun, and boy, it was fun then. That payback was a bitch, I tell you. I shot a lot of birds with a shotgun there a few years after that. And it's really just been recently that I've started getting back into the archery again. And with Minnesota here, if you buy an archery tag, it's good for the whole season. So that's there's no gun hunting here at all if that's the way you choose to go. So that's the way it's gone for me. I've been successful. I've shot a lot of birds with the bow over the years, but I've done it for a long time. So there is that. But talk about best advice. I got to carry on to that. Patience has killed more birds than me for anything, and I mean way more than any of the calls in my box have ever done. Ruben says get out of the blind, move around. Well, I tell you, up here, most of the properties that I hunt, I mean, this one I'm on right now is just 25 acres, and moving is just not an option. It's silly to think about it. I had some properties around the Twin Cities that are, less than 10 acres. So I spend all my time in these pop-up blinds because moving is just not an option. And also sometimes spend all day in here. I'm comfortable. I'll bring my thermos of coffee in here. I'll bring a bit of book to read. Shot birds all times of the day. So that's what worked for me over the years.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we have been chatting for a little bit over an hour now. And I think that this is the perfect opportunity to wrap up this week's Talk Turkey to Me. I want to thank all of you guys for taking the time out of your day to sit down and chat with me and let us know how your team is doing so far this season. And, some of the tips and tricks and stories that you guys have shared are absolutely awesome. The hope is to do a couple more of these this season. So for those that commented, for those that tuned in, thank you. If you have a suggestion on some of the questions that you want to hear the captains answer, feel free to leave a comment on this video so that we can get those jotted down and have some topics that you're interested in on the next time we get together. But once again, on behalf of Bow Hunting League, I'm Lance DeYoung. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and you guys have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
You as
We'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks
Good
for
luck,
putting us
Don.
together. It's been fun.
Later, guys.
Thanks, guys.
There we go. See you guys
Good night,
later.
guys.